Welcome to this Chapter 31 tutorial on learning VBA Basic to Advanced. In this chapter, we will be looking at what is UserForm in VBA and how to make a UserForm. First, let's understand what is UserForm in VBA. An UserForm in VBA is a custom dialog box or a form which is used for collecting the information from the user, display information, and interact with Excel sheet in organized and user-friendly way. Let's see a few examples of UserForm that is developed in VBA. This is an UserForm for tracking the details of courier receipt. This is a mini application for inventory management created in VBA using an UserForm. These are the free download and usable apps, which you can get from the video description below. In today's chapter, we will learn step-by-step process of developing an UserForm for sales invoice entry. Let's get started. Open VBA window by clicking on Developer tab, then Visual Basic. To insert an UserForm, click on Insert tab, then UserForm. Here you see, a UserForm is created. In the Project Explorer, a new folder is created with the name of form. And below it, you can see the name of this UserForm, which is UserForm 1. To see the actual look of UserForm in the screen, click on the Run button. Here you see, a blank UserForm is displayed in the screen. Close the UserForm to go back to Editing window. Let's look into how to customize the UserForm to make a sales invoice entry form. First, open the Properties window of the UserForm. For this, right-click on the UserForm, then click on Properties. You can also show Properties window by clicking on View tab, then Properties window. Whichever object is selected, Properties window will show the properties of that object. Currently, UserForm is selected, and the Properties window is showing its properties. If you select this Sheet 1, properties of this Sheet 1 is shown here. Click on UserForm again. Let's change the name of UserForm 1 to a relevant name. Let's change it to Invoice Entry Form. To apply the changed value, you can click on the form or click on another property value. If you notice in the title bar of form, there is UserForm 1. To change the title of UserForm, go to the caption property and change it there. Let's put here Sales Invoice Entry. See in the title bar, caption is updated. To change the background color of UserForm, go to the back color property and choose a color. Click on the UserForm. Then click on Run button to see how the form looks. Look at the form. Title bar text is Sales Invoice Entry and color is yellow. Let's change the width and height of the UserForm. This you can do by changing the height and width property. Or, you can simply click, hold and drag, and drop the edge of UserForm. Run the UserForm. The UserForm is bigger than before. Let's make it more bigger. Let's see how we can add buttons and controls to the UserForm. For this, add the Toolbox window by clicking on View tab, then Toolbox. In the Toolbox, you can see different controls. To see what is the name of these controls, put your mouse pointer over them and the name will be given. For example, select Object, Label, Text box, Combo box, List box, Check box, Option button, etc. To add a label, click on Label option, then click on the UserForm. Here you see, Label 1 is created. To change the caption of Label 1, go to Property window and change it to Invoice number. Increase the label width to fit the caption text inside it. To adjust the position of this label in the form, you can click, hold, drag, and drop. To create other labels, you can simply copy and paste. Here we need total 7 label for the column headers required for the details of invoice. These are invoice number, invoice date, customer name, product name, quantity, rate, and amount. Copy and paste this first label. Change the label caption to invoice date. You can change the caption of label by directly clicking on the label. For this, you need to click twice. But the click should be slow. If you do fast double-click, it opens the coding window. So, to avoid this problem, do slow double-click to edit the caption of label. Or, if you don't want this fast and slow thing, you can simply go to the property window and edit the caption. In the property window of label, you can change the font color, font name, font size, background color, etc. Following the same method, create all labels for the details of invoice. For the input of invoice data, add text boxes in the form. For this, click on the text box control in the toolbox. Then click on the user form. A text box is added. Go to Property window and change the text box height to 20. You can change other properties such as font size, font name, special effect, etc. according to your requirement. Let's make 6 duplicate copies of the text box for all the labels. If you need wider text box for some labels, for example, customer name and product name, you can simply increase the width by click, hold, drag, and drop from the edge of text box. Now, let's check the form by hitting on that Run button. This is what form looks like in the screen. Continue form customization. Let's add here some buttons to control the data entry. For example, when the user fills all the required information in these text box, to send these information to the Excel sheet, we need a Submit button. To make a button, click on the Command button control in the toolbox. Then click on the form. A Command button is added. Go to Properties window and change the caption to Submit. If you want to give a different color to this button, go to Back Color Property and choose a color option. The default name of button is given as Command Button 1. You can change this to a relevant name, because if you have too many command buttons in the form, you may get confused with which button is for what purpose. To change the name, go to Name Property and change it. For example, let me put here button_submit. Following the same method, add here New button to clear the records from text box. Run the user form to see how it appears in the screen. Here you see, this is an example of simple user form to track the details of invoices. In this tutorial, we are focusing on the basics, so the design of user form is simple and straightforward. But when we actually develop an application, we can do heavy customization by including background images, colors, more control tools, etc., which we will learn in other video tutorials. Let's input the details of invoice to these text boxes. Now, if I click on the Submit and Cancel button, nothing happens, because till now I have just designed the interface of user form. No coding is done yet. To make this user form functional, we have to write the VBA code or script. In the next chapter, we will learn how to write codes to make this user form functional. It means when we click on Submit button, the data in the text box should go in the Excel sheet. When we click on the Cancel button, the values in the text box should clear. If you are trying to create a user form for the very first time, it may be a little difficult for you to understand the things. But if you practice it multiple times, you will be familiar with it. And it's better to be used to with the user form design part before starting coding part. So, that's all for this video. See you in next chapter.